Hi guys, I'm Joe Katz and welcome to the Katz Walk. I'm so excited. I have got a sports figure on today. I've got Alex Mattison. He is the 2020 running back for the Minnesota Vikings, and he has got some great stories. Growing up in California and working his way up to the NFL, so many really interesting details that happened to him in his life that he's going to share in this interview. He also started a clothing line called I Am Gifted, which has so much deep meaning to him. So many great stories he's going to share. We also play a game called Do You Know? So stay tuned. Alex Mattison, thank you so much for joining. How are you?
Of course. Thank you for having me on. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So did you just come in from practice or where?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we just finished up about 35 minutes ago, so not too long.
Wow. Yeah, I did too. I just came in from practice too, having a cup of coffee. It was so hard. You have no idea. I'm exhausted.
Very strenuous activity.
It was. And didn't you just have surgery?
Yeah. Was that not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before? So about almost 2 weeks ago now. Coming up on 2 weeks.
And you're okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Everything went smooth, so I'm doing great.
Good. I had the same thing, and I went to the doctor, and I was like, God, my stomach hurts. And he's like, He's like, let me see. And so then he's like, let's just get like a scan just to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went for the scan, and they're like, you can't leave. And I'm like, I want to leave. And they're like, you can't leave. And I'm like, why? They're like, because you have to have surgery today.
Yeah, that's exactly. It was one of those, but mine was like really, really bad pain. And I was sitting in meetings, and it wouldn't stop. And so I went to the trainers, and then my body everything. I tried to drink some water. I tried to drink a little bit of Pepto-Bismol, a little bit of Pedialyte. Every time I drank a little bit of something, it made me throw up. And so we ended up getting a scan, and it was the same situation. They just wheeled me on up and got me ready for surgery.
Oh my God. Oh, so you just thought maybe you had like a upset stomach or sick or...
At first, like in the morning, I thought that might have been what it was, but as the day kept going, I mean, I only lasted maybe until 9, 10 o'clock in the morning as far as like how my morning went, but the pain just kept getting worse within those like 2 hours. And it's just like something just churning inside my stomach. And so we finally got the scan, and glad we did, and glad we caught it, and everything went smooth.
Yeah, because if you don't, I mean, it's like, that's why they're always like, if they know it's there, they like emergency do it because they don't want it to burst or, yeah.
Mm-mm.
Well, thank goodness. Otherwise, this interview would never have happened, Alex. Anyway, Well, great. I'm so glad to have you on the show. I've done some different research. We have so much to talk about, and I wanted to just start just for the audience to really understand, like, you know, where did Alex grow up, and where is he from? And I know, wasn't it San Bernardino you grew up in, right?
Yeah.
And I'm in LA, so we were neighbors.
Yeah, right down the street.
I'm in Los Angeles. I've learned a little bit about you, but I'd love to just hear like how you grew up and, you know, what you went through and, you know, how you got to where you are right now, and just give some of our listeners a little bit of a background.
Okay, yeah. So I grew up in San Bernardino. I was born and raised San Bernardino, California. I have 2 older brothers that are fraternal twins, where they're a year and 8 months older than me. So we're pretty close in age. And so, just growing up with the household of my older brothers and my mom and dad, and really a lot of our family is back in Ohio, and then a little bit of family in Texas. So my only immediate family that we had was my dad's sister and their immediate household. So my cousins and my uncle and aunt. And so we grew up in a tight-knit family, just, you know, everything was family first, and raised in a home of good faith. So growing up in San Bernardino, I'm in a city where I'm surrounded by drugs and gang violence, and you lose friends, you lose people left and right as I grew up. So it's just one of those things where we stayed strong in faith and strong together, and I'm here today because of the family and the support system that I have. And it's really a strong community as far as people really being passionate about making it a better environment. So,
Mm-hmm.
I can give credit to so many different people, so many different mentors as I grew up, helping me stay on the right track and making sure that I had my head on straight.
Who mentored you? When you say mentors, is it teachers or was it your?
Um, I would say mostly football coaches and a few teachers that I can name as well that I remember that were uh, really just awesome to have, whether it was for a year or even just after having a teacher, just being able to see them on campus and talk to them as I got older was something that I always cherish too. But yeah, there was so many different people in my life that have been, on the school board or some teachers and some coaches that I've had that have helped me grow along with my family into the person I am today.
That's cool. How do you, growing up in San Bernardino where there is like violence and gangs and stuff, I'm sure like, did you have friends that were part of it and stuff like that growing
Uh,
up?
I've had a handful of friends go down the wrong path. Yeah.
And how do you stay out of it? How do you like not get involved? Because I would think it would be like tempting in a way, like if your friends, were doing it or stuff like that.
So the way my parents raised me, I was more in the mindset of being a leader than a follower. An aspect of trying to get them to do what's right and trying to, I had so strong morals and values as far as being strong in faith, and my parents didn't allow C's in the house. So homework had to be done before I could even practice. All of that stuff that I was raised on, and just seeing friends going down the wrong path that my parents tried to make sure I wouldn't go down so much that I was trying to help them, trying to reach out and pull them along with me. And, you can only do that for so long. You can only do that so much to a certain extent where either they take your hand, your helping hand that you lend in, or, they see it for a little bit. I've had plenty of friends that have had the little glimpse of hope and like, okay, go down the right path. And then there's their other group of friends on the other side that pull them back the other way. And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
yeah, uh, uh, I've had many stories of many friends that have either gone the wrong route or played that tug of war with their life as far as doing what's right and getting caught up in the other way of life.
Was there times it was scary, like at night, or is it like, did you feel ever at danger or things like that?
Yeah, I've had plenty of times where it was, seeing some things that kids shouldn't see. Yeah, growing up a city like that, there's just from the things like prostitution and all that you see on the corners and that just drive by and you see it actually happen to other things that are just gruesome and that people shouldn't have to witness and it's one of those things where you I recently kind of came to terms with the fact that in the back of my head I always knew what I wanted to do, but I always knew that I could be one of these people that's dead or in jail. And so that's kind of just the mindset that I've had is just super grateful and super blessed to just have made it out and be able to be that stronghold in my family and trying to help us all get out of there now.
Yeah. Is your family still there?
I have some family on the outskirts of San Bernardino, and then my brother just moved from San Bernardino. He moved out to, I think he's right on the edge between San Bernardino and Redlands now. So yeah, just in nicer areas, not too much to worry about. My mom's out here with me, and one of my other brothers is out here with me. So
Oh, they're all in Minnesota.
yeah, and then my
Oh,
dad's in Texas. So
oh,
we've all kind
nice.
of branched out a little bit.
If a kid, that's listening, maybe he's not in San Bernardino, maybe he is, maybe he's, and he's growing up, he's listening right now. What would you say to him that he's being pulled kind of in that direction of maybe the not so good route, but he wants to try to do good, but he wants to be popular and he wants to be in? What advice would you give him?
I would definitely say be a leader, not a follower. whatever it is that you want to do with your life, whatever, even if you don't know what that is, whatever idea comes across your head that you want to do with your life, put some focus and energy into that. Put some focus and energy into your future, because at the end of the day, whatever you do now is going to determine your future. And whether that's going down the wrong path or the right path, you have to understand that sacrificing some of those personal wants or some of those temptations, sacrificing those right now is going to put you in a better position later in life, where you can say that I did it. You can say that I made it out. And that's something that I really pride myself in, is being able to just say that I can say it. And it's been hard along the way, just losing people that should be here with me today. And don't make any decisions that you're going to regret. That's for sure.
So if they were like, God, I would love to play in the NFL, but I don't even know if I could ever. I mean, that's like a pipe dream, what would you say? Just stay focused more?
Yeah. So for example, let me give a personal story. I started playing when I was 6 years old. And before that, I played soccer. Before that, I played t-ball. And it was just, I was just playing sports. My parents had me in sports. And then I wanted to play football. And I started playing contact football at 6 years old. And at 6 years old, I knew I fell in love with the sport. But 9 years old, you start to get the game a little more. You're coming back next year. You're coming back next year. There's no stopping to it. Mm-hmm. And with that, I say I come from an area where you're not going to make it. That's like the sentence that you hear most often is, you're not going to make it. Most of you aren't going to make it. Most of you are going to end up in jail. This small percentage of you will end up dead. This small percentage of you won't go to, will go to college. Like, all I've heard all my life in sports and in areas like that was that you can't, and there's no way. And just to use that as fuel. So if you've ever heard that, if you're out there and you ever hear someone that puts you down, talks down on your dreams, keep dreaming and keep believing, because at the end of the day, you're the only person that can stop you from achieving what you want to achieve.
Wow. So that's how you were raised, with people saying it's not going to happen. That's ridiculous. No way. You're going to end up in jail, all that stuff.
Yeah. And it's just, even just like, speakers, they'll come and it's a big group of kids. Like going to a football camp or just sitting in an auditorium at school and just them saying, we're going to be real with you guys. 5% of you might go to college. 3% of you might graduate from college. 1% of you are going to do this. And then they give the other percentage of like 90% of you are going to end up in jail. And so it's just like, you hear that growing up, and it's just like, I've witnessed friends and people that I've, not, what's the term? Associates.
Yeah.
People that faces that names that but not really like close. And you see them accept that. And to me, that's just ridiculous that you have to grow up hearing these things and being in an environment where these things are so normal that you just accept it. And you just live the way of life of San Bernardino. And so that's why I'm really passionate about trying to go back and make a big difference and make a change. And that's something that I'm super, super passionate about.
Because it's hard, you think about just so many different things, and anybody, whether you're in sports, entertainment, whatever, people say, oh, you can't do that. Oh, that's ridiculous. And it's like, and so were they right though? The people in your school, did 90% end up in jail? Or not really?
I think they pull up some type of statistics of, just to let you know, like, this percentage of Black people are this, and this percentage of this never make it past here. So it's kind of like a reality check when you look at the percentages. But when I'm in a room full of kids my age and kids within 2-3 years of me, and we're all in this big room, or all in this big space, and there's hundreds of kids. Imagine if every single one of those kids went to college. Imagine if every single one of those kids graduated from college. That percentage that you just brought up, that the whole fact sheet that you brought up, that changes drastically.
Right.
And so you presenting that information and you pointing it and saying, I'm going to be real with you, I'm going to tell you your future, that already is 50% of the kids that we're in this room with gave in
Right.
just from hearing that.
Right. But if they came in and said the opposite, that 90% of you can go to college and 90% of you can make it, maybe that would put a different mindset on them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of, I think what fueled the way that I think now is because you can say, like, you can bring the facts and say, this is what has happened, but that doesn't mean it has to be you. You can change these numbers. You can be the difference. That's what kids need to hear. And growing up, I didn't hear enough of that. But I was able to kind of use it as fuel, and thank God that I was able to, we're all blessed. That's one thing too. I think we're all blessed with gifts, and you just have to find it, embrace it. And for me, I was able to take that as fuel to prove people wrong and to prove my supporters right, and make sure that I wasn't going to be another statistic. And so I think I want to just share that message so much. And so being blessed to be in the position that I am and with the platform that I have is something that I continue to try and do, is just let people know that, it is not about saying this is what you will be because this is how it is, but that you can be the difference and you can be the one to change the statistics and not be another one.
I wonder what it is, because, you have a strength in you that gave you that voice to kind of play that. But it's like, for that person that doesn't have that, it's like, how do you build that in yourself? I wonder,
Yeah. And I think that's one of the harder things to do because, there's always the voice in the back of your head, and everyone's voice is different.
Mm-hmm.
There's the negative voices, there's the uneasy voices, there's the super positive voices, but you never know what voice is in the back of someone's head. And so for me, I just say I'm blessed that I had the right voice in the back of my head that kind of helped guide me. But I think that there needs to be more out there for people to see and to hear and to get something to pull from. Because like I said, some people are playing tug of war with their life, pulling in many different directions. And so that's kind of just to tie back into my brand, I Am Gifted. That's kind of what I wanted to end up being. That's kind of the visual that I have for it, is hopefully it can grow to be something that's that positive energy and that other rope to pull someone that's just, hanging on by the edge maybe, or someone that, might not have their eyes open to something, that maybe we can shed that light for them. And it really is, it is a hard thing to kind of think about. Like, you never know.
Right. I saw, and to bring up your line, I looked at it. I love your t-shirts. I love the sweatshirt. I love all that you're doing. And so give people a little bit of a background about I Am Gifted. I read a little bit about it, so I kind of know, but I'd love you to describe a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So it's, I started I Am Gifted simply because I'm one of those people that's positive, that, whether if something bad happens, it's not the worst thing that can happen. And I can take that and learn from it. And I can take that and use a problem solver mentality towards that. And so what I wanted to do is, obviously I'm in a position where I want to have my own brand going, just my logo and things like that. But I wanted it to be more than just me, more than just my face on a shirt, or just this, just to have that. I wanted it to be more of a movement. So, I used my initials, and I was able to come up with the phrase I Am Gifted in the sense that everyone was born with a gift. And I want to encourage people to use it, to find it, embrace it, and use it to shed some light into this world. And at the end of the day, life is what you make of it. So what I want to do is pose a question: what are you going to do with it? And that I think will be one of those mindsets where, what do I want to do with my life? And to hear someone tell me that I'm gifted, okay, let me see, let me try this out. Let me try computers out. Let me try drawing. Let me try sports, because you'll find your gift. And when you do, you'll be so much happier. And I know some people that may not think that they have one, but it doesn't matter what you determine your gift is. It could be the smallest of things. It could be making masks. Whoever made these masks,
Mm-hmm.
that was a gift to this world. So
Right.
that's kind of my message behind it, and it really did stem from in college, my sophomore year. We played Washington State, and the quarterback was Tyler Linsky. And sadly, not too long after we played them that year, a few months later, I believe, he ended up taking his life. And that's why I'm really passionate about mental health and suicide prevention, and really combating that stigma that, we're big macho men and we don't have emotions, or we're not capable of feeling negative feelings or thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes, even just a man, not even a football player, just a man has to live in this box of, I can't show my emotions, or I don't have emotions. And so how do people deal with that? And
Mm-hmm.
I think he found himself in a situation where he didn't know how to deal with that. And that just hit me heavy. So a part of my brand is just wanting to make sure that I can extend that message that there's a light inside of you, and you just have to find the switch and flick it on and let it shine bright in the world.
Wow. And so did you know him or you just played him in a game?
Yeah, I didn't know him personally. It was I knew of him. He's from California as well, and um, that game we went into triple overtime, and I kind of use this to explain it. When you play a game like that, you leave some emotion. You open up this door of emotions for there to be a connection, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you leave a lot out there on that field. And so I think that's kind of why it hit me so hard, even though I didn't know him personally. It's just, we put a lot into that game and poured our hearts out on that field. So, yeah, I just kind of felt that emotional connection, and especially just being a football player myself that has been through a rough time. Even going into that season, it was just back to back to back things that were just not going right in my life, and so I think that all came full circle and just hit me real hard.
What when you say it wasn't going right in your life, what were some of the things?
So coming off of my freshman year, I ended up having to get my labrum repaired and my shoulder. So I was coming off of surgery, and I was going into my sophomore year where I was supposed to be the starting back. And
Mm-hmm.
so coming off of surgery that summer, I started feeling better, started, getting my range of motion back, and I was on the right track. And then, that summer I had lost a close friend of mine, doing the right thing, getting back on track. And I had just been on the phone with him and his mom. I think it might have been a week before he was killed, and that was super hard for me.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and then right after that, I ended up hurting my foot in fall camp going into the season. Right around the same time, my car breaks down and I need a new transmission.
Oh.
Right around the same time, my parents are behind, and I'm sending some of my stipend checks back to help them pay bills. And it's just like nonstop, over and over again, stuff happening. And, at that point, it was one of those things I kept trying to do everything I could to make everything right.
Yeah.
And I was just breaking down. And it was just one of those things, like nothing I did worked. And I'm asking why, like, why me? Why is this happening? And there's little things in between too, on top of all that, that's just like, come on. And at that moment, I just let go and let God, and I just prayed on it, and I just put it in his hands. Not that I just stopped trying, but
Right.
I just emotionally just let that weight off of me, and things just started to get better. And yeah, so it was one of those things that really hit me hard, just because, I was going through a rough time, and it was just one of those things where I was at a point where I'm asking, why me? What do I
Mm-hmm.
do?
Mm-hmm.
And just to see someone give up, and I think that's their only route. It's hard for me because at that moment when I was like, why me? What do I do next? There's so many different options, but the fact that, someone across the table from me chose that option, it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that I can now use my platform to help all that I can to share my voice and share my passion about it, and hopefully change someone's life.
Was that your friend that he got killed, or
Um,
is that what you were referring to?
well, yeah, referring to like
Yeah.
Tyler Linsky just going through a rough
Oh,
time
Tyler. Yeah.
and choosing that
Yeah.
option, choosing that route.
Right.
It's hard because, I was in a moment where, there was options in front of me, and, I chose, let go, let God, and don't let this eat you alive.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some people out there that, cope with things differently. There's different options on the table when you hit that wall. And,
Mm-hmm.
you see it all the time, the alcohol, drugs, and
Mm-hmm.
suicide, and all of these things. And so that's why I want to make sure that I let people know, like, there's someone that loves you. And if no one has told
Mm.
you that today, I love you.
Oh,
And
that's so sweet.
there's someone that loves you in this world, and your life matters. So don't, understand that gift is inside of you, and keep digging to find it.
That's so important to be able to give people that hope, and that, because I think a lot of people run into that where they kind of lose a little bit of that hope and a little bit of that, what they're going to do next or how they're going to get to the next thing. So I really wanted to, to be able to give people an idea of how you cope with it. And one of the things you said too is like being a man, like, especially as a football player, like, you're good, like, you're tough, you're fine. That's the way men are made. And women are much more emotional, and they can have their emotions and they can cry. And, but it's like, how do you, I mean, are you able to express more of your emotion, or do you kind of break that barrier of not being like just the stoic, non-emotional football player?
Well, I find myself not really showing a lot of emotions, and I realized though over time though it's okay. It's okay
Mm-hmm.
to feel emotions, and feel strong feelings towards things. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even now today, like I still, if I'm in pain, if I'm going through a rough time, like I know it still doesn't show. That's just kind of how I am and who I am. But I do understand that there's a point where if there's help like if you need help, there's nothing wrong with asking for it. And I'm at the point now where I understand that if, I'm going through a rough time and someone asks me a question and they want to actually know how I'm doing, there's nothing wrong with talking to them, and letting them know how you're doing, because sometimes you always get the how you doing, you're like good, but
Yeah,
really
always
you're not.
good.
you
Yeah.
know really sometimes you're not, and it's fine. Just, some people like to hear you out, like, are you sure? Like Amir, just to give credit to Amir, he's one of those human beings that's just super in tune with himself and in tune with his emotions. And sometimes he'll catch me just, there's been a couple times where he's like, "You good today?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, just checking on you. I just felt the spirits, felt your energy coming off a little different today. So I want to make sure you're doing all right." So things like that, you can
Oh, that's
appreciate.
cool.
And so
Yeah.
I just, yeah, that's just one of the things that I'm becoming more aware of. And I think being around him and being around guys like that is just, it helps me understand, like, someone cares about me, and there's nothing wrong with sharing and getting it off your chest.
Right. Wow. You probably go through so much. You just told me about like how you got your shoulder and then your foot. I mean, how hard is football on your body?
It's definitely not for everybody.
Is there a lot of pain? I mean, are you go through a lot, right?
Yeah, I mean, some people will play and they won't ever have a surgery. Um, they probably barely ache or anything like that. But then there's the other people that, maybe have 7 surgeries or concussions and all that goes down. So you really can't ever predict what's going to happen in the sport that we play. You can be running and fall and hit your head too hard on the ground,
Right.
and you have a concussion. So, yeah, I've had 3 surgeries, and I feel good now, but it is hard on your body, running around and running into people full speed.
Full speed, you're jamming into people.
Yeah, I heard from a health professional one time that came to speak to us that it's basically simulating mini car accidents every time that you line up to, like, it's mini, like comparing the hits that we take. They did a study where they put like tracers on guys and tracked the kind of compact, and it's like mini car accidents.
Like if a car hit another car, that's probably how it feels.
Yeah, so
maybe
at the end of a game, you've basically put yourself through a car accident every Sunday that you go out there and practice and play.
Probably multiple car accidents, right?
Exactly.
Oh my God. I mean, the impact, right? Mm-hmm. That you go through. Oh my God. But you're fine. It's
mm-hmm.
you're, yeah.
Wow, after you take so many hits, your body, your body starts to adjust, and doing it all my life, I think that it definitely has helped like callus over some areas that are able to take more damage now, I guess. And you learn how to recover. You learn how to take care of your body too.
Yeah, you have to. Wow. I have so many more questions. I can't believe we're already at 40 minutes, Alex. I'm like, it was supposed to be 30 minutes.
Oh, man.
But I have more questions for you. But I'm just going to ask some other ones. One thing too, this is one thing, it was just when you were talking about growing up, and then I want to ask you about fashion and stuff like that, because that's why we're here. When I talk about fashion, I'm a stylist and the whole thing. If you couldn't tell, I didn't just show up in a bow tie for no apparent reason. But because I always wear bow ties when I style and when I'm doing stuff, and that's my thing. But one thing I saw this really great interview with Viola Davis, and she was talking about how she grew up so poor, and it was like this mindset. I mean, she grew up with like rats in her house. It was just horrible, like so poor. But getting out of that mindset, how do you change your mind? Like, how do you, because I read about you, like, your family, there were struggles, right? I mean, there was a lot of struggles. Like, how do you change your mind? Because people, once you get in that mind, I think we talked about it a little bit, but I was just curious. I wanted to bring that up.
Man, I think it has something to do with having my eyes open to a lot of different things now, because I really didn't know, I've never had over a couple $1,000s ever in my bank account. In college, mm-hmm. I was like, oh, snap, like, I can save some money up, and then, I can help out my parents now and things mm-hmm. like that. But I think it's one of those things where, like, for me, I didn't really want to change my mindset, because to me, I valued the small things, like time with my family, all those different things. So now that I'm in a position where I'm able to have a house that we can actually have our own rooms in, and I can afford to have organic stuff and things like that in the house, and it's like, it's a blessing. But at the same time, I'm still one of those people that will try and find a deal on things and live kind of the way that my parents kind of raised us, that we can't really have everything that we want. Mm-hmm. I couldn't have these toys that I wanted. I couldn't have the bike that I wanted walking through the store. So I'm still getting out of that mindset a little bit still. Just seeing things and just kind of being like, I don't know what the word is. I'm kind of frugal in that way.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah,
but
because
it's not a bad thing, I don't think.
No, I think you do it smart, and I think that's really important. Getting into fashion, what would you describe your style as? I always see you in like your t-shirts and stuff like that, but what do you?
So when I do, like, I'll have to like post one day, just post like all my pregame drip. I have to post that one day. But when I look at it, I look at it in a way of like, I try and make a statement sometimes. Like, I'm in my own little zone of things I do. Like I have a pink suit that I wore. I have a green suit that I wore with the money signs on the inside and some things like that. So I kind of try and make a statement a little bit.
Where do you have them custom made, or do you like certain brands?
Yeah, those were custom made ones.
Yeah, because it's probably hard to fit always certain off the rack stuff. So yeah.
I don't have, the reason I didn't have any suits coming into the league was because all of my slacks and stuff, they didn't fit past like 6 months. Like I would get maybe a little bit of more, like just a little bit of muscle mass difference between like the end of the season and the summer or something, and then my slacks, they don't fit right, and it's just like, how? So now all of my suits.
So what are you gonna do? Right. Wow. So you have somebody that does custom for you to do different things.
Do the measurements and all that.
Yeah. And then you like bold colors, like you like statement stuff.
Yeah. I'm trying to get out my comfort zone and do that a little bit more. Just because, why not?
Why not?
I think I've been sheltered, most of my life. So it's kind of like spread your wings a little bit.
Yeah. One of my last questions before, if you're willing to play a game with me, it'll be a very fast game. But one thing that I wanted to ask you is, what's one thing that you haven't told anybody that that would help somebody else?
That's a good question. One thing I probably, I'm giving away a little bit of a secret here, not too much of a secret, but something I wrote. I used to write on my mirror in college. I used to write little phrases or things like that. And so I have a whiteboard in my room, and something I have on there is, time waits for no one, and neither does greatness. So keep chasing greatness. And so if there's anyone out there listening that's chasing greatness, don't stop, because time doesn't wait for anybody, and neither does greatness.
I like that. You're full of wisdom, Alex. I love it.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so I'm going to end with, are you willing to, I told them I was going to play a game with you where you can ask me 5 questions about football, which I don't know anything about. And I'm going to ask you 5 questions about fashion. And I want to see, Are you willing to play?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, let's do it real quick. Should I start, or do you want to start?
I'll start.
Okay, start.
Let's see.
It's not going to be good. I'm just warning you.
Let's see. Who's the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings?
Oh, come on. Starting quarterback. I don't know. You can ask me terms too about the game. I'll try to tell you what that is too.
I just thought maybe you might have saw Kirk Cousins.
Oh, Kirk Cousins. No.
Yeah.
I'm so bad. Okay. Next, we got to keep moving.
Okay. Let's see. What is this? What does this mean?
That means stop.
No.
No, that means one. Okay, so people that are listening and can't see the video, you have to look at the video. But he put his hands up like this. What is that?
Up over my head.
What is that? Stop? No, that's one.
No, it's either a touchdown or the field goal is good.
Oh, the field goal. What's the difference? How do you know the difference?
Do you know what field goal is?
No.
Have you seen it?
I'm one of you. See, I'm a huge football fan. Can you tell? I know everything. Okay.
When they kick it through the uprights. When they kick it through the.
Oh boy. Oh, yeah. That's another conversation. The uprights. I don't know anything about that. Okay, give me another one.
All right. Let's see. What colors do the referees wear?
Black and white.
Okay.
That's good, right?
Yeah,
because they do it at Foot Locker. I go to Foot Locker, so I know. Okay. And the last one. All right.
Let me give you. Okay, what colors are the? Let me pick a team that's not too easy for you. What color are the Arizona Cardinals?
Red and white?
That was too easy, huh? Yeah.
Was it? Yay! See, I got claps. Yay. I have sound effects. Okay. All right. Okay. So you did great questions. Can I ask you some fashion questions?
Yeah.
You're probably going to get these. If you don't, it's no big deal.
Maybe not.
Do you know what a peplum is? Have you heard of peplum?
No.
No. So a peplum is like this thing that in a woman's jacket, it kind of flutes out over the waist. So it's like a band and then almost like a little ruffle or something that comes off the waist. That's hard. That's hard.
I mean, like how would you know peplum? Dresses?
Yeah, kind of in a way, or like a jacket, and it's got a peplum. It's got like a little bit of it's ruffled or flared a little bit.
Yeah, I've probably seen it before, but I would have never known the term.
I'm going to give you an easy one because you gave me the referee and I go to Foot Locker. So how about what is a pleat?
Oh, man. Is that like the area right here or something?
No, pleat. I got pleats on my pants.
Pleat. Is it something on the side or is it something with where you...
No, so it's the front, back. They don't do it as much anymore, but they're like little creases in the front. They're your pleats, like old school. They don't do that as much, in the front of your pants.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they told me the same thing. They don't do them anymore like that.
They don't do them anymore. Yeah. Okay, I'll give you another easy one. What's a hem? I'm going to hem something.
The hem on... See, I know the hem on a jacket. Is it, or is the hem your pants?
Both. You can hem. It's like if you're going to hem, you're going to take it up from the bottom. So if your pants are too long, you're going to hem it. You're going to bring it up. Yeah.
I said the side.
Yeah, you're doing. I'm going to give you a clap. Okay. This might be hard though, Alex. This might be hard. Have you heard of ruching?
I feel like I've heard the term. Can you use it in a sentence?
Yeah. Let's see. The ruching in her dress was really accented her flat stomach. Nothing?
No.
So that's a hard one. I'm giving you a hard one. That wasn't ruching. It's like this fullness or gathered. So they'll do like ruching in the middle. And sometimes it makes like on a woman's dress or something, it makes it look like flatter. It's kind of a fullness. So it gathers. Like think of gathering all in one area. It's called like ruching. Oh, we've got so many things to talk about, Alex. Good Lord. Well, thank you for playing my game.
I got to teach you some football. You got to teach me some fashion.
Oh, Lord. Good Lord. You got to tell me about the kick. What is that? The kick?
The upright.
The upright. All I know is you need to sit upright. I see these. Yes, I know nothing about all of that. Well, Alex, thank you so much for coming and joining. I want to tell people, if you want to check out Alex's collection, it's at criticclothing.com, right, Alex?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's where anybody can buy it and check it out. I love those t-shirts. I like the colors you're doing. It's really cool. I wanted to do a line for my podcast. I was looking at yours. I'm like, that's cool. And then I saw the A and then I was like, what's the other? And it's like, I am gifted. And then I'm like, when you said it, I was like, oh, that's your last name. A-M.
A-M, yeah.
Yeah. I like that logo.
I appreciate
That's very
that.
Cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Alex, we have taken all your time. Thank you so much for coming. Check him out. Check him out on all the things. If you love sports, just like I love sports, you'll want to watch him every single week. You're an amazing player. And I'm so glad you took the time. And thanks for really, truly, I love all your inspirational things that you said. And I love what you said about mental health and really bringing awareness to that. I think it's so, so important right now. And I love that you give a voice to men and to be able to say, you know what, it's worth it. You're worth it. Go out there and get help or talk to people if you've got something to say. I think that's brilliant. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. I really appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Katz Walk. Make sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. This has been a production of Evergreen Podcast. A special thank you to executive producer Gerardo Orlando, producer Leah Longbreak, and audio engineer Dave Douglas.